What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XRP today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. All right, here we are. Starting off on the 1 hour time frame. I wanted to do some shorter term analysis and then build out to higher time frames. I actually, just looking at this here, I think XRP has a diamond pattern at the bottom here. A diamond bottom, maybe. Maybe that's I did not draw that too well, did I? Let me see. Let me get my diamond drawing technique on here. There we go. Right, like that. Right, four-sided. It's ugly. That's kind of how you know it's a diamond pattern, though, right? That's how I learned it. If it looks ugly, that's how you know it's a diamond. It's interesting. It's almost like an inverse head and shoulders, but weird. It's a weird one. Some kind of bottoming consolidation phase where you're definitely rounding out here at the bottom. I very much believe that you're going to be postured to the upside. If we were looking at the chart, if this was moving up, if we were looking at it like this, I'd be like, dude, you're about to wreck yourself. You know what I mean? But instead of getting wrecked, you're going to be pumping. So I think this thing literally, as fast as you move down, let's see if we can calculate this, right? Just trust me. I have a fun perspective to offer here. Let's see. And it's not that fun. It's nothing too crazy, but let's just see. That took you 118. So that took you 4 days, 22 hours to find the low from the high, which is all the way up at like $2.65. My estimate would be then that it takes less time to see that same price return back to here, which is 118 bars. So then by that metric, I would think that before the 24th of May, which that's this Saturday, yeah? Before this week, you will be at higher prices, okay? But we already kind of knew that, right? But this helps validate it. I think you will, because with this kind of stuff, whenever you move like this, whenever you do see this kind of movement, the move that reacts afterwards, that goes to the opposite direction, it doesn't continue in this nice path. That's not how it works. Sometimes, but not oftentimes not. You see this, and it loads you up for a rather robust, high velocity move. And again, I would think the exact same thing if we were looking at it like this. It would mean that we're about to drop off a cliff. As fast as we moved up here, we'd move down even faster. But we're not. We're on the opposite end of this, looking like we're moving up. So I could tell you, I mean, even without this kind of form of analysis, I'd be able to tell you that before Saturday, we're going to be above $2.70 here, $2.65. Essentially, that's all that it means, right? Looking at this on a 4 hour time, that's not what it means. That's just what I'm interpreting, right? Don't take that. It doesn't mean that every time that you move down and that you consolidate and then you move up, that it has to be faster. That's not how it means. That's not what that means, but I'm interpreting it that way for this case scenario. It really does look more like a 4 hour, or it looks more like a diamond pattern on the 4 hour time frame, in my opinion. It really has that kind of symmetrical triangle look here and then here as well. Man, I can't draw a straight line to save my life. It's this magnet that's on. It's messing with me right here. I'm just looking for excuses, but you see it looks more like a diamond there. If it is a diamond bottom, diamond patterns are known for a couple of things, right? They're known for high velocity moves. They're also known for volatility. So do expect volatility. If we break out to the downside, we'll get some quick volatility to snap us back. If we break out to the upside, there is the chance where you could pull back through your breakout point. Diamond patterns are notorious for this, but it's like 50-50. I would think that if you break out, XRP isn't going to pull back down. I mean, maybe you do to check and then you run, but I would think that you break out, you're probably going to continue, and then again, that would, before this week is over, likely take you to higher prices than what we've seen over the past week now. From a high to a low, the expectation would be that sometime between now and, I mean, maybe Saturday, between now and the end of this week, you're probably at 275 or higher. Yeah, 275 to 290. By the end of the month, we're looking for targets that are at $3 or more by the end of May here. Up and up is the way to go here for XRP. I think that this next move is going to break you out of your upward sloping channel here. If I remember correctly, we were talking about this last night for XRP. If not, I'm thinking of a different crypto, but I'm going to stick with the same kind of logic for XRP here. I think that this move is going to break you out of this upward sloping trend, because if we're looking at this in the grand context of this move over here, this whole consolidation phase, you've kind of had your breakout move here, right? You had your little breakout and you didn't really get any follow through yet. You're about to get that follow through move. And what we've seen from a lot of cryptos recently, whenever they've broken out of their downtrends since January, since December, since November, whatever, whenever they started their downtrends here that ended in April, what we've seen a lot of cryptos do this thing where they break out slowly and then they get their follow through move and it rips, right? Here you broke out kind of robust, but not, you didn't get too much follow through. You just kind of chilled, right? You're finding support at prior resistance right here. You're getting ready for that next move up, and I do think that it's going to break you out above this. All I'm trying to say, this is just a a long, probably overcomplicated way of, or maybe simplistic way even, of saying, I think we're going to see prices above $3 by the end of this month of May. We might even be at new all-time highs by the end of May. Daily RSI looks phenomenal. We're right at the area that you'd expect to bounce, right? You've got higher lows here, higher highs here, nice parallel kind of channel upwards. You really would expect to bounce right here. Yesterday closed right at the 50, so if we get a green day to close today, we'll be bouncing right off the 50. That's all we need. Let's look at that 1 hour time frame again real quick. Hold on. 1 hour looks, it's neutral. I want to say it's bearish, but it's neutral. I don't know. You're about to break out. We'll see. Not a lot to go off of. What about the 15-minute time frame? More bearish, so maybe break out to the downside. Let's look at the 4 hour time frame. Same kind of concept. Yeah, I guess I would think that you go to the downside. So hell, maybe this diamond pattern, maybe it looks more like a diamond on the 4 hour. Maybe you do break out to the downside and then rip back to the upside. They're notorious for this. This is exactly what they do, is they break out like half the time, if not more than half the time. They break out and they pull back through the breakout point. So actually it might be good if you break out to the downside, get that slightly lower, whatever, and then just rip to the upside. So I would expect by the end of today that XRP does close green. I just think we might start off the day to the downside, which is kind of interesting. I wonder if Bitcoin's going to move down too then. We'll see. After that, we can look forward to prices that are well above $3, well above $3, new all-time highs, in fact. My expectation is where XRP is going to go by the end of this next move. What do I mean by that? I mean, here we consolidated and then we moved up, and then we've consolidated. Our next move, where that's going to be, is likely going to be above $10, potentially as high as like $16, something like that, but somewhere in that range. I'm thinking $13, right smack dab in the middle of that $10 to $16 range, right here at the 1414. $13 to $14 makes a lot of sense, right? You would, if you interact with the 1414, you would oftentimes actually go above it, wick above it, and then close below it, right? Some kind of quick wick, and then you close below. That's the expectation with the 1414. Sometimes you do tip it to a T, and sometimes you fall shy of hitting it, whatever. But and there's plenty of resistance. There's plenty of reasons for XRP to find resistance in between the 1414 and the 1272. But I'm thinking you probably do go somewhere very near $13, $13 to $14. High to low here, your 1,886,200 area is right there at that $10 to $13 area. 1414 is right here. I doubt you go to $22, and I doubt you stop at $6, right? The absolute bare minimum target I could see XRP achieving is $8.37. But whenever we run XRP to BTC, whenever we run these numbers, time and time again, you guys, we get the same conclusion that it's really not. It doesn't make sense really to consider XRP below $10. It really doesn't. And here, let's try it real quick. We'll try this in the video, okay? Because it's been a second since I've done this. So we're going to try to be pessimistic here, but let's give it a good understanding, right? Here, we're finding resistance, right? Right at this area that we found resistance before. Found resistance all throughout time, really, for XRP here. We rejected it immediately, rejected it immediately, rejected it immediately, rejected it immediately. Here, we're dancing. We're consolidating. We're flirting with it a little bit. You flirt enough, sometimes you get that follow-through. You get to go a little bit higher. And if we go higher, where are we going to stop? It makes sense that we stopped here because we've stopped here so many times before, right? Where's the next place that we would stop? Have we consolidated? Has XRP consolidated right here below this line since 2019, 2020? Has it done that just so that whenever it finally breaks out, it's going to stop? It's going to stop right here. Is that what's going to happen? Probably not. Probably not. No. This is probably not what you spent, 6 years for. Probably not. No, I don't think so. I would think that this next move probably takes you higher. So where's the next zone that would make sense? Okay, probably up there. Let's see, something like this. This would make a lot of sense. Something like that, right? We'll put in the bearish one. We'll put in the absolutely pessimistic one, but we'll put in something that's a little bit more logical, right? That you would find resistance here. And let's even bring it down. Let's even bring it down, actually. Let's be pessimistic on the logical one. Let's bring it down to this point of resistance so that it interacts with this point of resistance and these points. And let's take it even a step. We're going to go even further than that. Let's take it down right to where these areas are. So as pessimistic as I really can be to what makes sense. This is pessimistic, but without a point of logic, in my opinion. I mean, yes, you have significance here, but what? You're breaking through a significant area in the XRP to Bitcoin price. You're going to stop right there after you've been here for 6 years underneath this line. I don't think so. I don't see it happening, man. No. But we'll run it anyways. Let's do it. Let's do it real quick. Google calculator. This easy trick will give you heavenly fluffy pancakes in minutes. I know what the trick is, you guys. You gotta fluff the dough. I don't know, man. I don't know what the trick is. I don't care. I'd rather make steak for breakfast than pancakes anyways. Pancakes are good, but steak makes you feel good, right? And it tastes good, damn it, if you do it right. Google calculator. Let's see, what am I doing? All right. XRP, we're going to do the Bitcoin price. That's 404275. So 123404275. That's the price. The most pessimistic outcome that I could come to for XRP to be worth versus Bitcoin by the end of June, early July. By the end of this next phase up, this is where we're going to go. I really doubt it, but let's input it. 404275. 404275 times the price that we anticipate Bitcoin to be. I'm anticipating $180,000 to $170,000. So let's take it a step below. I can explain that real quick. I don't want to. We've already spent so much time on this video, but just understand, okay? Understand that's what's happening. Take my word for it. No, from a high to a low, I guess the most simplistic way to kind of convince anybody of this would be in my time, which has been, since 2017, 2016, doing technical analysis now. My time doing this, I've seen consolidation phases like this right below the 1272. And whenever you get this, it's actually very bullish. Right, whenever you consolidate, you don't even interact with the 100 or the 886. You don't pull back to this area like you normally would, and you consolidate below the 1272. I've never seen an instance where you've done this and you stopped anywhere lesser than the 1618. Bitcoin, with its 1618, likes to wick just above it. What's just above 174,000? 180,000. So this is, in short, one of a plethora of reasons that I believe Bitcoin's going to go down or go up to 170 to 180K by the end of June, early July. So if Bitcoin's up here, and that's what my expectation is, let's take it down a notch. Let's be bearish. Let's say 140K. Because with the 1414, you oftentimes don't stop there. You actually go just above it. Let's take that. Let's say 140K. So this price already super bearish versus Bitcoin versus a price that I'm not even bullish enough on, right? Like that doesn't make any sense. So we're taking two prices that don't make sense. Let's just see, in my worst nightmares, what could XRP be worth? So $6. In my absolute worst nightmares, $6. But again, none of that's coming from a place of logic. This is coming from withholding XRP versus Bitcoin and withholding Bitcoin versus itself, all right? We take that same number and we multiply it. It's still not even going to be fair, but we take that same number, we multiply it by something a little bit closer as to what I expect Bitcoin to be at $7.26. So still $6, $7, pessimistic level, still pretty damn good, but I doubt we stop there, right? Let's do the real stuff now, okay? XRP to BTC, the real area that makes sense, and even still, we brought it down to be conservative. That's at 407842. So 407842 times, we'll do the same thing, $140,000 Bitcoin, which would be about $11 there, the more sensible area with a handicap to it anyways. We brought it down, right? The more sensible area, relatively speaking, would have been all the way up here. We're at 407. I'm talking about 301 would be the more sensible area, but sure, 4078, whatever, that's fine. Right there, we brought it down. Maybe we find turbulence there. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. We put a high there to the low here. And as far as fib retracements go, it would actually make a lot more sense to go up to here to that 3011 area. But we'll withhold it. Let alone Bitcoin, it probably doesn't make sense that it would stop at 140. It'd probably go to 170 to 180. But maybe XRP tops off while Bitcoin's at 140. Maybe Bitcoin tops off at 180, 170, pulls back, and by the time it pulls back, that's when XRP tops off, or XRP tops off beforehand. That doesn't normally happen. They normally top off together. Let's run the numbers if they top off together. Let's say XRP is worth this versus Bitcoin, 0.00007842 Bitcoins per XRP, right? Let's say that's what it is. And then give Bitcoin a $170,000 price. That would give XRP a $13.33 price, which is exactly right there with the 1414, you guys, right? And it's just a little bit below, and that makes sense because this line is just a little bit below what actually makes sense. 170K is even a little bit below of what actually makes sense. So it might make sense that as you do with the 1414, that XRP doesn't stop there. It probably goes just above there. When you make price predictions and you can't get it to match up with the Bitcoin price, That's how you know it's fugazi, right? And you can get it to match with the Bitcoin price if you guess and check enough. But we went from an area that didn't make sense compared to an area that makes the utmost sense. The area that made sense is the one that lines up with what our expectations are, not the area that doesn't make sense. And here's one more thing that I'll end this on, right? And I've said this plenty of times for XRP, from a high to a low here, okay? What else doesn't make sense, simply put, and I could have saved myself a lot of breath probably if I just said it like this, but I've said this plenty of times. I don't think XRP spent multiple cycles consolidating to stop at its minimum target. Enough said. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.